Yes, people, a very happy evening to all of you. So, guys, we started with a brand new chapter today in the CA Foundation Accountancy subject, which is accounting for special transaction. Under this chapter, guys, there are series of different units. In that, the very first unit, what we started was accounting for bill of exchange and the promissory note. So, guys, what we understood in the last class is basically the meaning of bill of exchange, what is bill of exchange and what is promissory note. So bill of exchange, guys, or a promissory note is a concept that comes into picture during a credit sale or a credit purchase transaction. So upon a credit purchase or a credit sale transaction, the concept of bill of exchange or promissory note comes into picture. So what did we understand by the concept of bill of exchange? So bill of exchange is a document that is being prepared by the seller containing all the information about the seller himself, about the buyer, what goods has been sold to the buyer, basically the description of the goods, quantity, value, and all those stuffs. And on what date the buyer is supposed to make the payment to the seller, what exact amount, to whom the amount has to be paid, everything will be mentioned in detail in a bill of exchange document. So this document is prepared by the seller, and this is sent along with the goods and the invoice. When the customer is receiving such bill, he has to go through all the terms and conditions of the bills of exchange, and he has to accept it. If he's okay with those conditions, he has to accept it and give that bill of exchange back to the seller. So here the person who's preparing the bill of exchange, he's called as a drawer. He's also called as a maker. The person to whom the bill is being drawn, in favor of whom the bill is drawn, is called as a drawee, and he is called as accepted because he has to sign on the document. The person who is going to pay the money is called as payer, and the person who is going to receive the money is called as payee. From seller's point of view, this buyer is a debtor, customer is a debtor. From the customer point of view, customer has to make the payment to the seller. For customer, the seller is a creditor. The person who is handing over the bill, the preparing the bill, is called as issuer. The person to whom the bill is being issued is called as a issuee. Now, this is the concept that we have discussed in bills of exchange. Then next comes promissory note. In promissory note, what happens is seller will not prepare any document. The document here is being prepared by the buyer himself. So he is undertaking to make the certain sum of money payment on a future date. So he will mention all the details about the buyer himself, about the seller, about the particulars of goods, on what date he'll make the payment, in what installments he'll make the payment, to whom he'll make the payment. Every information he'll be discussing with the seller and capturing all the information one by one in the promissory note. So here the person who is preparing the document, promissory note, is called as a drawer and the maker. In this case, here it is buyer. So buyer is the person who is preparing the document. But if bills of exchange has been prepared by the seller. Since there is no need to accept the promissory note because the buyer himself is preparing the bill, he is promising to pay. So there is no need of acceptance of anybody. So here the concept of acceptance will not come into picture. Rest, I think these are the terms which all of you must be clear, right? So let's not get into the detail again. Then what did we learn, guys? In the morning session, we learned that how do we calculate the due date or the maturity date. So normally what we understood is, in case of check, the Negotiable Instrument Act says that the validity of the check is basically 3 months. So it is very easy for us to calculate the expiry period of the check. But in case of bill of exchange, the expiry period, there is no defined due date as such. You have to calculate. So here they said that depending on what is your term of bill, depending on what is your term of bill, your due date will be accordingly calculated. So if your term of bill is after date, so you'll take issue date as base date. With that, you'll add you'll add the credit period. The credit period will be as agreed between the buyer and seller. It could be 9 months, it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, it could be 2 months, 1 month, 30 days, 40 days, 60 days, however you want it. So issue date plus credit period. With that, without forgetting, add 3 grace days. If you add that, the final what date you get as a maturity date. Technically, what is due date? With issue date, if I add the credit period, I'll get the due date. With the due date, if you add 3 grace days, you'll get the maturity date. This is the theoretical explanation. But for all practical purposes, in the questions, what they've done is, wherever they've asked the due date, they've ended up calculating only the maturity date. They want the final date on which the payment will happen. So if the question says the term of the bill is after side, then you have to calculate the days from the date of acceptance. Whenever the signature is being put on the bill of exchange for accepting the document, no, from that acceptance date, you will calculate or add up the credit period and plus 3 grace days to know what is your maturity date. So sometimes the term of the bill could be on demand or at site. One more word is there, on presentment. I'll add that word and give this document to all of you. There's one more word in your ICA material. It is called as on presentment. So whenever the term of bill is on demand, give the payment on demand. Whenever I demand, you have to give me the money. At site means whenever I ask on site, you have to make me the payment. Or whenever I present the bill to you, on that date, you have to make the payment. That is the condition. You'll take the base date as issue date plus credit period. Now, since it is on demand, immediately has to be paid. There is no concept of grace days being added. So your issue date plus credit period alone will give you a maturity date. Now, we have worked out a few questions in the previous session. In that, we understood that they have not mentioned the term of the bill clearly in the question. So, in the absence of the specific information, or if the question is silent with regard to the term of bill, it is always presumed to be after date. So, you will take this and calculate it. And one more thing, what we understood is that in case the maturity date or the due date, what you're calculating is a public holiday. Public holiday means it's a known holiday, such as Sunday, Republic Day, your Independence Day, October 2, Gandhi Jayanti, or any public holiday. You will have the maturity date one day before. You'll have the due date agreed one day before. On the other hand, if your maturity date happens to be an unforeseen or unplanned holiday, then in that case, the next day, subsequent day will be your maturity or the due date, that is revised maturity or the revised due date. Am I clear? This is what we have studied. Then coming back.
So what if they don't give the credit period?
Sorry?
What if they don't mention credit period?
It is not possible now, because in bill of exchange, obviously there's a credit period that is agreed between the debtor and the creditor, that is buyer and
seller. So there's no, so like for check it's 3 months, there's no like ऐसे अगर कुछ नहीं बोले तो
no.
लेना है.
Bill of exchange, it is not possible. You will not come across any question, or you will not come across a concept that there is no credit period mentioned, because here the main underlying is a credit period which have to be agreed between the buyer and seller, or else there is no way you can calculate the due date now.
Okay.
Now then we saw the third thing, guys, where we learned how to do accounting for these 4 cases where the bill is honored on time. When the bill is honored on time, in these 4 scenarios, how the entry is being passed, we have seen the scenario. Now we will understand in the very same scenario, in the same 4 case, what will happen? The bill is dishonored. So we'll take one example under each case, and we'll try to understand the concept. So before going forward, let's go through this ICA module and see if you have missed out any theoretical note. So what is bill of exchange? I've explained to all of you. You can just do a simple reading whenever you're free at home. You remember we did the definition of bill of exchange as per the Negotiable Instrument Act, Section 5 and Section 4. So that has been broken down into parts. So you need to remember these points. They can take some points from this and frame a true and false question and give it to you. Or they might also ask you, what is the characteristics of bill of exchange? You might get it as a 2-mark question. So theory, you cannot skip it. Theory is very important in your ICA examination, because you know that 6 questions will be asked as true and false, each carrying 2 marks. So 12 questions straight away theoretical, and remaining 4 to 8 marks minimum, they will ask you for additional descriptive questions. That could be a difference between question, or they may ask you what is the feature of this particular thing, what is the characteristics of that. So anywhere the theory can come from. So theory is not to be skipped. If your aim is to score 90 plus, theory is something which you cannot skip. Foreign bill of exchange alone, I'm keeping it pending as of now. We have discussed what is promissory note, and those definition what we studied, the points has been very clearly being given here. The specimen of the bill of exchange, the specimen of promissory note also has been given for your understanding purposes. And now, guys, differences between bill of exchange and promissory note. Now, please understand, in your ICA module, in every chapter, you will find some difference between or the other. So all the difference between, you have to go through and keep the points in your mind. So you might get a difference between question in the exam for, let's say, 4 mark. In that case, 4 point from bill of exchange, 4 point from promissory note, more than sufficient. Then you might ask a question, sir, do we need to go through the other points? The answer is yes, because from that point, if they frame any true and false question and ask, what will you do? So we are not skipping anything. We are learning everything. But for a 4-mark question, writing all the points of the tabular column which is given in screen is not advisable. If it is a 4-mark question, write 4 points under bills of exchange, 4 points under promissory note, each carrying half mark, more than sufficient. Am I clear? But when you study, you have to study the full tabular column for the knowledge purposes. So this concept, what is laid down in this tabular column, we have discussed it. Please go home and give a time to read this tabular column. And if you have any doubts, please get back to me in the next class. Then accounting entry. If the bill is okay, what are the 4 cases we discussed? First one is when the person is holding the bill till the date of maturity. That was the first case. Second case was bill has been discounted from or through bank. Third case is bill has been endorsed to the third party or creditor. Fourth one is bill is sent to the bank for collection purpose. Okay, very good. So all the entries regarding that has been given here. You can just go through. Term of bill, guys, we discussed, no, after date, after site, that is all been given here. So I've given in a tabular column in a chart format, which is very easy to revise during the exam. So I've done the small part of working notes for you, so that will be easy for you. What is the expiry and due date of the bill? Theoretically, it has been given. What is the days of grace has been given? How do you calculate the maturity of the bill? That has been given. So here is what I've come across this word on presentment. So in case of on demand, at site and presentment, the grace days need not be added. That's what has been mentioned here. Then what is bill at site has been given here. What is bill after date has been given here. So you may ask a question, sir, do we need to go through this point and remember? Yeah, few lines here and there, 1 or 2 marks. What if they ask you for 1 mark question? There has been a particular question, guys. They've got a theoretical question for 4 marks. In that, there were 4 questions, each question for 1 mark. So they'll ask you, explain what is bill at site for 1 mark. They'll ask you, explain bill after date for 1 mark. So all the theory, you should know something. And there is nothing like, you have to by heart as such all the theory and write. In CA, what is important is stick on to the keywords. Grammatical formation of the sentence you are free to do. But the keywords you have to stick on. How to calculate the due date of bill? Theoretically has been given. We have done practical question based on that, which covers the entire tabular column. So till this we have done, guys. Now the next concept what we discussed, which is the dishonourment of bill. From there, the noting charges onwards, all the concept will be taken care of. So let's go to the next segment. And the bill is retained till maturity, but on the maturity date, the bill has been dishonored. So what is the meaning of dishonourment? Dishonor of a bill means non-payment by the acceptor. Acceptor means who? Buyer, the customer. The customer is not paying the money on the due date. He is dishonoring the bill. Dishonor of a bill means a situation when the acceptor of a bill does not pay the amount. The reason can be anything. One example, what they've given here is insolvency. Insolvency means what? Being bankrupt, he's become pauper, he's lost it totally. He doesn't have any money, so he's not able to pay. This is one example. But reason could be anything else also. Holder of a bill can recover the amount from the drawer on any previous endorser. The holder of the bill can recover the amount from the drawer. Drawer here means the drawer of the promissory note they're talking about. Don't get confused. Holder of the bill can recover the amount from the drawer or any previous endorser. For example, if the bill is endorsed to the creditor, so creditor is holding the bill. He is called as holder of the bill. So holder of the bill is going, in the case 3, the holder of the bill will go and get the money from whom? Customer. In case 2, who is the holder of the bill? Banker. Because you have discounted the bill with the banker now. So who is having the bill? Banker. So banker is the holder of the bill. So holder of the bill in case 2, case 3 and case 4 can recover the amount from the drawer. Drawer means the person who's prepared the bill. Who prepared the bill? We are talking about bill. So who is bill? Drawer here in bill? Seller. So in the case 2, banker is going and asking money from whom? Customer. Customer is not paying the money. So banker will recover the money from whom now? Seller. Who is the drawer of the bill? Or he will receive from any previous endorser. The person who has endorsed it to somebody else from endorser. Third case, who's the holder of the bill? Creditor. So creditor will go and get the money from whom? Buyer. If buyer is not paying the money, what will the holder of the bill do? He will go and collect the money from the endorser. Basically, the seller. Seller is called as endorser. No? That's what he studied in today's morning session. So endorser. The holder of the bill can recover the amount from the drawer or any previous endorser. You got this point? The holder of the bill may present the bill through a notary public and get the dishonor of the bill noted. Now, what happens is, guys, whenever a bill is being, okay, let me take an example. This is seller. This is buyer. So in case one, seller is presenting the bill to the buyer and buyer is saying, get lost, I'm not paying the money because I've become insolvent. Or he can give you any other reason. Now, guys, the reason, whatever the buyer is saying for not paying the money, that reason you should get it noted. Noted means what? Captured. Now tell me, if the seller writes that, okay, buyer is not paying the payment because of so and so reason, will anybody accept it? Because if seller is writing it, he can write whatever he wants to write. He will purposely create some points and he might write in the document. So seller cannot be believed. The buyer, what if the seller has not presented the bill to buyer itself? And chumma, to take revenge from the buyer, the seller has told that no, I tried to present the bill, he's not paying the money, so let me put a case on buyer. So any forgery can happen. So here what the law says that if a seller is presenting the bill to buyer, if buyer is not honoring the payment, you do one thing. The seller or the holder of the bill. Holder of the bill means what? In the first case, the holder of bill is seller himself. In case one, when the bill is held till maturity, the holder of the bill is seller himself. In case two, when the bill is being discounted with the bank, who is the holder of the bill? Banker. So banker in case two. In case three, who is the holder of the bill? Creditor, endorsee. In fourth case, who is the holder of the bill? Again, banker, who's been given the responsibility of collection. So in these four cases, the respective holder of the bill, they will go to a government official called as notary public. They will go to the notary public and tell that notary public. So this particular person, I have given the bill to get my money on the due date. Today is the due date. He's supposed to make me the payment, but he is not doing the payment for so and so reason. So you please come on my behalf. Whatever proceedings is required, you try from your side once. You go and present this bill to the buyer. And please help me collect this money. Notary public will do this service free of cost? No, he will charge. So for the service what he is doing, the charges is called as notary charges. Now, when the notary public is going to the buyer and asking for the payment, if the buyer is not giving the payment, he will note down the reason why the buyer is not giving the payment. Now, when the notary public, guys, he's a third party. When he is writing the reasons, can I say the court will believe his reasons? If a seller himself writes the reason for dishonourment, the court will not believe because it could be biased. But a notary public who is a government official, if he is writing the reason why the buyer is not honoring the payment, that writing acts as an evidence in the court of law, in which case the seller has been safeguarded. So do you understand how the notary public concept is coming into picture? So let's give a theoretical reading as well. It is very beautifully given in your ICA study model. So here it says that it is necessary that the fact of dishonor, the reason for dishonor, it is necessary that the fact of dishonor and the causes of dishonor should be established. Should be established means what? Should be identified and noted down. If the notary public is going, if the buyer is going and, if the seller is going and getting the money from the buyer, if buyer is not making the payment, why? What is the reason behind him not paying the money? That needs to be identified and captured. If the acceptor can prove, acceptor means who? Buyer. Prove that the bill was not properly presented to him for payment, he may escape the liability. Now, for example, the seller did not even present the bill. Seller did not even present the bill. Without presenting the bill, the seller noted down and filed a case against buyer in the court saying that, quote, I went to this guy, for getting my money back. He did not give me my money. Like that, he can put a false case on the buyer. The buyer is arguing that, sir, I never received the bill. If I don't receive the bill, how will I make the payment? So here, if the notary public is involved, and if the notary public is going and telling the buyer to make the payment, and if buyer is honoring the payment, then it's very clear that the bill is presented and honored. So why are we going to notary public is because if the seller is lying, his lie will get captured at the earliest, because the notary public being a government official, he will not try to do any forgery with either parties. So what this point is trying to establish is basically the acceptor, that is the buyer, can prove that the bill was not properly presented. For example, the notary public is going to the buyer and he is presenting the bill properly, and buyer is making the payment. Then notary public will ask, what? Why didn't you make the payment earlier when the seller came? He will tell that, sir, we both have agreed a particular way, particular date, particular timing when the bill has been presented. This guy did not follow the time, did not follow that procedure properly. He did not present the bill properly to me. Therefore, I did not make the payment of the bill. So if the buyer is able to prove that the bill that was presented to him was not properly presented, therefore he could escape the liability. Escape the liability doesn't mean that is not required to make the payment. The liability of dragging him to the court and unnecessarily, being involved in the penal provisions, that could be escaped. If the acceptor can prove that the bill was not properly presented to him for payment, he may escape a liability of penal charges. Therefore, if there is a dishonor or a fear of dishonor, the bill will be given to public official known as notary public. Sometimes what happens, the seller will really clearly know. The terms between the seller and buyer are not good. So seller will know that we have already had an argument over call. If I go and give this bill to the buyer, he will not give me the payment. So what you will do, along with you will take the notary public and go. And in front of notary public, you'll ask for money. If that guy doesn't give the money, the notary public will capture all the genuine reason and give it as an evidence to you. You can take that evidence and go to court of law and file a case on the buyer. So that important is notary public. Therefore, if there is a dishonor or a fear of dishonor, the bill will be given to the public official. Public official means government official, known as notary public. These officials present the bill for payment. These officials will present the bill for payment, and if the money is received, they will hand over the money to the original party, which is the seller. But if the bill is dishonored, they will note the fact of dishonor. They will note the fact of dishonor with a reason why the bill is not being honored, and the same will be given back to the client. Client here is who? Seller. Because seller or the holder of the bill. Holder of the bill. Here, guys, who can go to notary public? In case one, who's the holder of bill? Seller himself. So he'll go to notary public. In case two, who's the holder of the bill? Bank. So bank will go to notary public. In case three, who's the holder of bill? Endorsee, which is creditor. He will go to the notary public. In case four, who will go? Again, bank. So holder of the bill will go to notary public. So, and the notary public will go and ask for the bill. If the bill is not honored, if the payment is not made, he'll note the reason for the same and give the bill back to the client. Basically, the person who has appointed the notary public. For this service, they will charge a small fee that is called as a noting charges. The amount of noting charges is recoverable from the party who is responsible for dishonor. So there are two cases, guys. Noting charges will be paid by somebody, and this amount will be slowly collected from the original party who is at default. So ultimately, who will be bearing the noting charges? Buyer. Because it is because of buyer. It is because of buyer. Since buyer did not make the bill payment, the notary public was involved and unnecessarily expenditure was done. So initially, the holder of the bill has to pay the money, because notary public will not wait to collect the money from the buyer. So initially, notary public will collect the money from the holder of the bill and go off. Holder of the bill will slowly recover from whom? Buyer. Now, this is the concept of noting charges and notary public. Please tell me if you have any doubts here. Online people, do you have any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay. No, sir. Couple of practical questions. So illustration 8, guys. It says that Amar sold goods for 50,000 to Bhaskar on 1st Jan 2021. So who is the seller? Amar is the seller. Who is the buyer? Bhaskar. On the same day, he drew a bill on Bhaskar at 3 months for the amount. What is the term period? Term period 3 months. What is the term of the bill? Nothing is mentioned. So after date, the bill was duly accepted. The bill was duly accepted. Accepted by whom? Accepted by whom? Bhaskar. But is dishonored on the due date. Amar pays 1,000 as noting charges. Who is the holder of the bill? Amar is the holder of the bill. So you would have appointed the notary public. So notary public would have collected money from Amar. So Amar would have paid. But is Amar supposed to bear that notary charges? No. Ultimately, who will bear the notary charges? The party in default. Who is the party in default? Bhaskar. Record this transaction in the journal of Amar and Bhaskar. So let's do it one by one. So first in the books of Amar. In the books of Amar. Guys, what is the date of sale? 1st Jan 2021. So on date of sale, which is 1/1/21. What will be a journal entry, please? Guys, I want everyone to respond.
The bills receivable to
Bhaskar
to
Bhaskar to sale.
sales. 50,000 rupees. Then on date of bill being accepted, on date of acceptance of bill, on date of acceptance of bill, 1/1/21. So Bhaskar is an unsecured debtor. So once the bill is executed, Bhaskar becomes secured. So unsecured Bhaskar has to be cancelled and a secured Bhaskar has to be created. So Bhaskar unsecured is currently in debit. To cancel him, I have to put in credit. So Bhaskar. In secured Bhaskar ka name is what? Bills receivable. So bills receivable, account debit, 50,000 to Bhaskar, 50,000 rupees. Guys, when I do that, what will happen to Bhaskar's account? Bhaskar's ledger balance will become zero. Very good. Now, guys, we are supposed to calculate the due date. So please tell me, people, date of issue of bill is what? 1/1/2021. How many months of credit period? 3 months plus 3 grace days. So 1st January means February, March, April. So 1st April is the due date plus 3 grace days is 4th April 2021 is the maturity date. So guys, date of maturity or on due date 4/4/21, guys, what is happening? What is happening? The bill is being dishonored, which means what? You're not getting the money back. I told you very clearly in the last class that on the maturity date, the validity of the bill is expired, which means that bill is no longer secured. So what will I have to do? I need to cancel the bills receivable. I need to cancel it because the validity is lost. So bills receivable is currently in debit. To close the bills receivable account, to nullify it, what am I supposed to do? To bills receivable, 50,000 credit. What will I put in debit? Did you get the money? If you get the money, cash or bank account debit. If you have not got the money, which means you're yet to get the money, you have to get the money from whom? Bhaskar. Now the bill validity is lost. The security is lost, which means now you have become unsecured. Bhaskar is now become unsecured. So you have to recreate Bhaskar's account. So Bhaskar's account debit. Bhaskar account debit. You're recreating. So please note it down. This is recreating the debtor. Recreation of debtor. Recreation of debtor account. Because originally in the first 2 transactions, the debtor's account is closed. Now we are recreating Bhaskar account debit to bills receivable, 50,000, 50,000. Online people, do you have any problem?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So this is a sale entry. This is a bill of exchange execution entry, and this is a dishonourment entry. But dishonourment, we have a problem. What we have done? 2 bills receivable, 50,000 you have written. No? Now, on 4/4, when the dishonourment is done, our what do you call it, seller has taken along with him whom? Notary public. So notary public is gone and he has noted all the fact of the cases of dishonourment, for which he has charged how much rupees? 1000 rupees. So notary public will charge the money from whom? Notary public will charge money from whom? He'll ask money from us because he doesn't know the buyer. We will collect from the buyer, that's a different case. So notary public will collect money from us. We will collect money in return from Bhaskar. So initially who paid the money? We are who? Amar. So 2 cash 1000 rupees he'll pay. So 50,000 rupees I need to receive towards the bill, and 1000 rupees I need to receive towards notary charges. So total how much money I need to recover from Amar? Sorry, Bhaskar? 51,000. So it's not 50,000, it's 51,000. Please note this point, very, very important. Let me explain one more time. Guys, bills receivable I have credited because I need to close the bills receivable account. We need to close the bills receivable account. So 50,000 rupees. In the very same transaction, we are taking along with us the notary public to document all the reasons for dishonourment of bill, for which he is charging 1,000 rupees. Notary public is going on the request of Amar. So he will ask money from Amar only. So Amar will pay 1,000 rupees from his pocket. But is Amar supposed to pay from his pocket all the time, like till the very end? No. So the money what is presently paid, he will recover from whom? Bhaskar in future. Because of Bhaskar only, Amar ended up paying 1,000 rupees extra to notary public. So we will not record the expense in our book. See, if I am bearing the expenses, then the entry will be notary charge account debit to cash. 1,000, 1,000. When you debit notary charge, debiting of expense means it is an indication that who will bear the expense. To cash here means it is indication that who is making the payment. So here, this part Amar is taking care because he is paying the money. Notary charges, who will bear it? Bhaskar will bear it. So to cash 1,000 we have done. So now we have to recover from Bhaskar how much amount? 51,000 totally. How? 50,000 towards the original bill and 1,000 towards notary charges. So this entry is something which people, you have to be very careful or else you lose marks. Online people, any problem with the dishonourment of bill entry?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now guys, in the books of Bhaskar. In the books of Bhaskar. Now on the date of purchase 1/1/2021, it is purchase account debit to Amar. Amar is the unsecured creditor worth 50,000 rupees. Once the bill is accepted, on the date of acceptance of bill, we will cancel the unsecured Amar by debiting him. So Amar account debit, and will in place of that we'll create a new liability, new creditor in names of bills payable. 50,000, 50,000. So when I do that, guys, my Amar's account debit and credit is knocked off. So ledger balance of Amar becomes 0. Now on the due date, guys, on the due date, what is happening? 4/4/2021, the bill has been dishonored, which means the validity of the bill is lost. So now, guys, can I state the bills payable is no longer a bill payable now? I need to cancel this bill payable because it has become null and void. So bill payable is currently in credit. To cancel it, I need to debit. So bills payable account debit 50,000. So reversal of bill payable. In place of that, I need to create a new creditor in the name of Amar. So you have to recreate Amar account. So Amar is basically a creditor. So Amar credit means what? This means we have to pay him so much of amount in future. So how much money we have to pay to Amar in future? 51,000 rupees. How? 50,000 rupees towards the original bill and 1,000 rupees towards the discount, noting charges. So who will bear the noting charges? Bhaskar. So noting charges account debit. The person who is bearing the expenses, in his accounts only the expense will be recorded. So bills payable account debit is basically the cancellation of the original bill. Noting charges you have debited because we have to record the expense in the book of Bhaskar. So 50 plus 1,000, total amount that we have to pay to Amar in future is 51,000. So we are recreating the creditor. So please make a note, this is a recreation of creditor account. That's all, people. Any problem? Online people, any issues, any difficulties?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Original purchase entry, bill of exchange entry, dishonourment entry. Can I go to the next question? So case 2, when the bill is discounted with bank, and in that case, if dishonourment happens, then what is the accounting treatment is what we're going to see. So illustration 10. Rakesh draws a bill on Bhavesh for 20,000 on 4th September 2021, payable after 4 months. So credit period is 4 months, term of bill is nothing mentioned, so after date. So what is the due date? 4 September 2021 plus 4 month plus 3 grace days. So what is the amount? Sorry, what is the date? 4th September. So October, November, December, Jan. So 4th Jan plus 3 grace days. 7 Jan 2022. So this is the due date. Am I right? Now, Rakesh discount the bill with bank at 12% per annum on 7th October. On 7th October. The bill is dishonored on the due date. Pass the necessary journal entries in books of Rakesh if the bank paid 300 as noting charge. Why is bank paying us 300 noting charges? Because banker is a holder of the bill. He has called the notary public along with him. So obviously notary public will recover money from whom? Banker. But will banker bear this money? No. So banker will recover this money from Rakesh. And Rakesh will recover this money from Bhavesh. Okay, so let's understand through this diagram. So when the goods has been sold, people, 4/9/21. So on 4/9/21, the goods has been sold. So we have to record the journal entry in the books of both Bhaskar and Rakesh and Bhavesh. So let's do in the books of Rakesh first. Rakesh is the seller. Rakesh is drawing the bill. Rakesh is seller. Bhavesh is buyer. So in books of Rakesh. Guys, here they have asked about the bill being drawn on 4th September. So this is bill drawn entry. This is not the date of sale. So there is some date of sale. On a date of sale, the entry is what? Only people not responding. Bhavesh account debit to sale. How much?
20,000.
20,000 rupees. Now this entry is not required for you. This is only for your knowledge. You will start your entry from 4 September 2021. So on 4 September 2021, what is happening? A bill of exchange has been accepted. So Bhavesh is an unsecured debtor. I need to cancel him by crediting. So to Bhavesh. Is it B or W? V. And in place of them, I have to create a new secured debtor account, which is bills receivable account. 20,000 to Bhavesh 20,000. So guys, sale is happening on a different date. Sale is happening on a different date. First entry recorded, not required, though I recorded. Then there is a bill of exchange executed, which is on 4th September 2021. Third transaction is what? The seller is giving this bill to the bank for the purpose of discounting of bill. So this is a transaction happening between the banker and seller. Who is seller here? Rakesh. And this guy buyer is Bhavesh. So guys, discounting of bill is done by Rakesh to the banker, and we are recording the entry in the book of Rakesh. So can I say this entry, I need to capture it? So what is happening? Please understand very carefully. The discounting of the bill is happening on a different date, which is on 7th of October. Please understand, please be very, very careful with the date. Rakesh discounts the bill with bank at 12% per annum on 7th of October. So here on 7th of October 2021, sorry, 7th of September 2021, Rakesh is handing over the bill to the banker. So from my hand, the bill is going out. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So 2 bills receivable 20,000 rupees. In return, what am I getting? The money from the banker. So banker is going to give me money in my account. How much money is he going to give? An amount which is coming after minusing discounting charges. So what is the discounting charges? So 20,000 into what is the interest?
12%.
12%. If you just write 12%, that will become the interest for the entire year. But my question is Rakesh enjoying this 20,000 for the entire 12 months?
No,
The answer
sir.
is no. So you have to do a timeline here. You have to do a timeline here. Now, please understand, the bill has been executed on 4th of September. 4th of September 2021, the bill of exchange has been executed. What is the maturity date? 7 January 2022, which is the maturity date. When is the bill being discounted with the bank? 7th of October 2021 is the discounting of the bill, which means, guys, on 7th of October only we have received money from whom? Banker. So you will pay the interest to the banker only for the period what you've enjoyed the money. Why distraction there? Here. Guys, you will pay the interest or the discounting charges to the bank only for the period you have enjoyed the banker's money. So the money what banker is given to you, you have enjoyed from this period to this period. Am I right? On 7/10, banker gave you the money. On 7 months, banker will receive the money from the buyer. So how many months have you enjoyed this money?
3 months.
10 to 11, 12, 1, 3 months. October to November, November to December, December to Jan. So 3 months you've enjoyed this money. So you will calculate the interest or the discounting charges for 3 months. So into 3 by 12. So what is the charges?
600.
600. So how much money will you receive from the banker? 20,000 minus 600, which is 19,400. So 600, guys, it is a loss for whom? For Rakesh. So the person who's having the loss, who's incurring the loss, will bear the loss. So what will be the debit? Discounting charges account debit, 2 bills receivable, 20,000. So bank account debit 19,400. This is the money what we are receiving. 600 is the charges on top of that. So total bill what you've surrendered in the favor of banker is 20,000. So 20,000 worth of bill you've given to the banker, but in return you're getting only 19,400. The balance 600 what you've not got is the discounting charges. So any problem with the 7th September entry, please? Hello?
No, sir. No, sir.
No problem. Now, guys, coming back to the diagram. So what happens? The third transaction is done. What is the fourth transaction? Banker will go to the buyer on the due date and collect the money. Is buyer honoring the bill? No. So buyer has dishonored the bill. Now, my question to all of you is, guys, banker has approached the buyer for payment. Buyer is said get lost. Do you think that the banker will file a suit against the buyer and run the, keep running the case for a long period? Do you think banker will have such time? And will a banker want to get involved in such matters? Not at all. Here, banker has played very smart with Rakesh. You know what does the banker do? When Rakesh approached to the banker for discounting the bill, banker has very smartly made Rakesh sign one contract and agreement. In that contract, there is one particular point where it is mentioned that on the due date, when I go and collect money from Bhavesh, and if Bhavesh does not pay the money, I will collect that money from you on the very same date from your bank account without informing you. I repeat one more time. When Rakesh is going to the banker for getting the bill discounting done, the banker will ask the Rakesh to sign on a piece of paper, which is agreement or a contract, you can say, where there'll be multiple points. In that one point will be there, where banker will mention that on the maturity date or the due date, if the bill is dishonored, the buyer is not paying the money, I will recover that money from you, from your bank account without your permission, in which means that permission is being granted in advance. When the person is signing this document, when Rakesh is signing this document, no, you are giving the permission to the banker that on the due date, if buyer is not making the payment, you take the money from my bank account without my permission, or that permission I'm giving in advance now itself. Like that, you are permitting him. So now what happened? Here, when the banker is not getting the money, no, he will not sit and cry. He will come to bank from your account. He'll get the money. He will deduct the money from your bank account. Online people, am I clear with what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
On the due date, which is 7th of January 2021, the validity of the bill is lost. The bill is no longer valid. So bills receivable, guys, bills receivable is currently debit. To cancel this bills receivable, I need to put in credit. So 2 bills receivable will be in credit. What is the bill worth? 20,000 rupees. How much money will banker take from your bank account? How much money will banker take from your bank account?
20,000.
Now, there is a noting charge of 300. Rakesh, right, pass the necessary journal entries in the books of Rakesh if bank paid 300 as noting charges. So bank paid 300, but will bank bear it? Bank will try to recover from whom? Bank has paid it. So bank will recover from Rakesh, and in return, Rakesh will recover from Bhavish. So now, guys, how much money will the banker take from the bank account?
20,300.
20,300. So 2 bills receivable is 20,000. 2 bank or cash is 300. Is there any change? Pass the necessary journal entries in the books of Rakesh if the bank paid 300 as noting charges. So is the bank not recovering from this guy? Oh, wait. Once again. This is not a bill held till maturity. The bill has already been knocked off. I'm sorry. The bill is already knocked off here. Sorry. See, that's why it's very important to knock off the accounts. So let's knock off the accounts first to get a clarity. Guys, Bhavesh account is knocked off here. Bills receivable account is knocked off here. Correct? Now, you have already received the money for the sale what you have done. But on the due date, the bill is not honored. So banker will take directly money from your bank account. So from your bank account, how much money will totally go out? To bank, it will be 20,000. So banker will take 20,000 towards the bill value plus 300 for the noting charges what he is paid. So 20,300 rupees he'll take from your bank account. Am I right? Now this 20,300 rupees, what banker has taken from our account, are we not supposed to collect it from the other guy who's Bhavesh? Because Bhavesh is yet to pay his boss. I have sold the goods to Bhavesh. He did not pay me 20,000 rupees. On top of that, because of him, I have ended up spending 300 more towards the noting charges. Therefore, we need to recreate Bhavesh account. So Bhavesh account debit 20,300. Correct? No, guys, you see here in the previous 3 transaction, Bhavesh account is closed. Bills receivable account is closed. And still money is not received. So in that case, on the date of maturity, when the validity of the bill is gone, I need to recreate the debtor. So debtor has been recreated and the banker is taking from the money from my bank account. So first entry is what? To bank 2,300. So banker will take 20,000 towards the bill and 300 towards the noting charges. Total 2,300 gone. Now this 2,300 we have to recover from somebody now. So from whom will we recover? From Bhaskar. So sorry, Bhavesh. So Bhavesh account debit 20,300. So this is a tricky entry. Please make a note of it. If you have any doubts, please let me know. 2 bills receivable will not come because the bills receivable account is already closed when we did the discounting. So we don't have any bill with us to cancel it. Bhavesh account debit to bank. Guys, anybody's got any problem with this entry? Hello? Online people?
No, sir.
Mohit, Akhil, Jivika, Navya, Selina, Srinidhi, Swati.
No, sir.
Swati. No problem. Can I go forward? Okay. Now we have to record in the books of Bhavesh. So in the books of Bhavesh. On the date of purchase, my dear friends, what is the journal entry? Sorry? Purchase account debit to Rakesh. 20,000. Guys, on which date the bill is executed? September 2021, the bill of exchange has been executed. So Rakesh account debit to bills payable. Rakesh account debit to bills payable 20,000, 20,000. Now here what happens, guys? Rakesh account is knocked off. Rakesh account is knocked off. Gone, gone. Coming back to the diagram, people. So first entry recorded by Bhavesh. Second entry is also recorded by Bhavesh. So third transaction is happening between Rakesh and bank. Will Bhavesh capture it? No. Then banker is going and asking the amount from Bhavesh. Bhavesh is saying get lost. So there is a dishonourment. So fourth transaction is happening between banker and buyer. So can I say now buyer Bhavesh has to record the entry? So what is the due date? 7th of January 2022. Now here, guys, on the due date, the validity of the bill is expired. The bill is expired. The validity is gone. So this bill payable, which is alive now, I need to close it. Bills payable is currently in credit. To close, I need to put in debit. So bills payable account debit. How much? 20,000. So in place of that, I'm supposed to recreate whom? Rakesh, because we are yet to make the payment to the creditor. We have not made the payment to Rakesh yet. Guys, we have enjoyed 20,000 worth of goods, but we have not made the payment to Rakesh. So we have to recreate the creditor. Now, how much money we have to pay to Rakesh? 20,300. 20,000 towards the bill and 300 towards notary charges. So noting charges, who will bear now? Bhavesh. So the person who is bearing, he will record the expense in their book. So who is bearing here? Bhavesh. So noting charges account debit 300. So this 2,300 what we have to recover, in that 20,000 is towards the original bill and 300 is towards the noting charges. So noting charges is an expenses to be recorded in the person, in that person's account who has defaulted the payment. In that case, it is the customer or the buyer. So noting charges always the buyer will bear unless otherwise mentioned in the question. So these are the only 3 entries that you have to record. Any problem, people?
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
Here they have asked the entry only in the book of Rakesh. So they would have recorded only Rakesh entry. In the books of Rakesh they have recorded, but we have done in the books of Bhavesh also. It's fine, no problem. Yes, boss. In Rakesh books of account, noting charges should not come now. Why? Because the person who is bearing it, he will record the expense now. So what happened here is basically the banker has taken the notary public to do the services. So notary public would have collected the money from whom? From the banker. Banker in return will collect money from whom? Seller. Seller in return will collect money from whom? Buyer. So here, when the banker has collected money from seller, how much money is collected? 20,000 towards bill and 300 towards notary charges. So please understand, for a transaction there are 2 impacts. 300 rupees is a noting charge. The debit is the noting charges expense account. Credit is the payment. So credit part we are capturing in the Rakesh account and the debit part we are capturing in the Bhavesh account. Are you able to follow, understand? Now please understand, see, we have to capture both debit and credit. Now this debit and credit is broken down into 2 parts. This 300, the credit part is coming here. The opposite debit is what? Bhavesh. So we have included Bhavesh account as intermediary account. So Bhavesh to debit and Bhavesh to credit. We are following double entry system of accounting. 1 debit, 1 credit. So what I'm telling you is that this credit part is recorded in the Rakesh account. And the debit part of this is basically we are recording in Bhavesh account for recovering from him. The debit part, which is expense part, is captured in the books of Bhavesh. You have to have an opposite impact. No? You have to have an opposite impact. So opposite impact is given in the Rakesh account as 2,300. So basically, this 300 rupees of debit and credit is broken down into 2 entries. Normal entry is what? normal entry is noting charge account debit to cash. If one person is bearing and the same person is paying, this entry would have recorded. The problem here is one person is bearing, somebody else is paying. This, if you remember, exactly resembles in your partnership. We have this revaluation expenses now. During partnership 12 CBSE classes, I gave you the chart for revaluation expenses and all. Dissolution expenses. Same thing is applied here. So here what happens is noting charges, somebody else is bearing it. Somebody else is making the payment. So the person who is making the payment, 2 cash he will record. 2 cash 300. But is he the person to bear it? No. So he has to recover from somebody. So this 300 in the books of Rakesh, he will recover from whom? Bhavesh. So Bhavesh account debit 300 to cash. This entry Rakesh will record in his books of account. Basically seller. The seller is recording that buyer account debit to cash. So we have to recover this money from the buyer. Then noting charges, this debit part entry will come here. So noting charges account debit 300. To whom? We have to pay this money to whom? We are yet to pay this money. That is, the buyer is yet to pay this money to the seller. Who is seller here? Rakesh, 300. So what happened is, in this case, since the buyer and the seller are, the payer and the bearer of expense are two different people, unnecessarily an intermediary account of Rakesh and Bhavesh has come into picture. The bearer of the expenditure and the payer of expenditure both are same. Then notary charges to cash would have come and game over. Here the person who is paying is different. The person from whom we are recovering is different. Therefore, unnecessarily an intermediary Bhavesh and Rakesh are coming into picture. So 300 rupees Rakesh is paid, which he will recover from Bhavesh. And 300 rupees Bhavesh is bearing the charges, which he is yet to pay to Rakesh. That's how the entry is broken into two parts. Let me check once. Somebody. Guys, are you able to understand this part? Hello? Are you feeling confused? Clear with this part? Basically, yes. This is one entry, guys. Noting charges to cash. This one entry is broken down into two entries. If Bhavesh and Rakesh is knocked off, what am I left with? Noting charges to cash. All people, comfortable, not comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, people. So I'll be clear with this concept that if a bill is being discounted with the bank and at the end on the maturity date, if the bill has been dishonored, what is the dishonourment journal entry in the books of seller and in the books of purchaser? Are we clear with that part? Hello? Online people?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
1% said yes.
Yes, sir.
So let's take a quick break of 5 minutes. We'll come back and continue with the next two concepts. Yes, people, welcome back from break. So we have seen two cases so far, guys. In case one, what will happen if the bill is held till maturity and being dishonored? In second case, we saw what will happen if a bill is discounted and on the maturity date, the bill is being again dishonored. So we are heading towards the third case now, where a bill has been endorsed in the favor of creditor. And on the due date, again here, the bill has been dishonored. So let's take one example to understand this. Illustration 11, guys. It says that on 1st Jan 2021, A drew a bill on B for 5,000, payable after 3 months. B accepted the bill and returned to A. So who's the seller? Who's the buyer? Online people, who's the seller? Who's the buyer?
Seller,
A drew the bill. In bill of exchange, who draws the bill? Seller, no? Seller means creditor. So seller, buyer. The bill amount is 5,000. The credit period is 3 months. And the term of bill, since nothing is mentioned, it is after date. So B accepted the bill and returned to A. After 10 days, that is 11th of January, A endorsed the bill to his creditor C. On the due date, the bill was dishonored and C paid 100 rupees as noting charge. In this case, who is the holder of the bill? C is the holder of the bill. So he would have taken the notary public along with him. He would have got all the facts noted down. And for that purpose, 100 rupees service charge C would have paid. But will C bear the noting charges? C paid noting charges. Who will bear it ultimately? B. So C will recover this money from A. A will recover this money in return from B. Record the transaction in the books of A, B, and C. So let's understand this. So here the seller is A, buyer is B, and the creditor is C. So seller has sold the goods. So in the books of A, guys, let's do the entries in the books of A. On the date of sale, have they given the date of sale? No. So on the date of sale, guys, what is the journal entry? B, account debit to sales. How much value? 5,000 rupees. When is a bill been executed? On 1st Jan 2021. So 1/1/2021. Bills receivable account debit to B. 5,000, 5,000. Any problem? So guys, the first transaction, sale transaction, we have recorded. A has recorded the sale transaction. Second is what? Bill of exchange transaction. Third transaction is endorsing of the bill. Now guys, endorsing of the bill is happening after 10 days. So 10 days after first means 1 plus 10 days means what? 11th of Jan. So on 11th of Jan 2021, we are handing over the bill to my creditor. So debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So from my hand, the bill is going out. So two bills receivable. My asset is reducing, so credit the asset. This bill receivable is a mode of payment. We are making this bill as a payment to my creditor, which means the liability to my creditor has to be knocked off. Here the liability holder is C. So I need to close C's account by giving a debit. So C's account debit 5,000, two bills receivable. So this is the closure of the creditor's account. On in people, any problem? Hello?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Then what happens is that on the date of maturity, the bill is being dishonored. The bill is being dishonored. Now, guys, the creditor is taking the notary public along with him and getting all the facts of the case noted down, and he's paying the notary public the notary charges. With that, will he stop? Or will he come back crying to the seller saying that I went and asked money from the buyer said get lost. So now what will the seller do? So seller has to make the payment to the creditor. And on top of that, the bill of exchange also is become already invalid and the account is also closed and money is still not recovered from B. So recovery from B not happened. Payment to C, that also not happened. So on the date of maturity. So what is the date of maturity, please? On the date of maturity. Guys, 1/1/2021 plus 3 months of credit period plus 3 grace days equal to how much? 4th of April 2021. So on 4/4/21, guys, what will happen? Don't you think that you need to recreate both the debtor and the creditor? So please understand, here guys, the B account is already knocked off. B account debit, B account credit knocked off. Bills receivable account debit, bills receivable account credit is knocked off. So what will I record on the date of maturity? I am supposed to receive money from B. Did I receive the money? No. Which means I need to receive the money from B in the future date. So I need to recreate the asset. So to create asset, I need to debit. So B account will be debit. The money which I am supposed to pay to my creditor, have I paid that money? No. So I need to make the payment in future. So again, I need to recreate C. So to C's account 5,000, 5,000. So this is recreation of debtor and this is recreation of creditor. Guys, okay, not okay? This is recreation of debtor account. This is recreation of creditor account. Let's check in the textbook. Guys, obviously the sale entry is not recorded because here the date of sale is not given. So they have directly captured from the date of executing the bill of exchange. So this is the bill of exchange execution entry. This is the endorsement entry. And this is the recreation of debtor and creditor entry. So we recorded 4 entry, they recorded 3 entry. In exam, what will you do? You will record only 3 entry. Date of sale, why did I record? To make you understand the cancellation of B's account. That's why I am doing always the first entry. Otherwise not required. Online people, do you have any problem here? Do you have any problem in the
No, sir.
Dishonourment?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Excellent. Now guys, in the books of B. In the books of B. Yes, boss. Yeah, sorry. The amount is not 5,000, it is 5,100. The amount is 5,100. Logic is very simple. 100 is the noting charges. Who paid? C paid from his pocket. Is C supposed to pay from his pocket? No. So C will recur from whom? C knows only B. Sorry, C knows only A. So C would want to recur from A. A in return will want to recur from B. So C is recovering from A. So C will ask how much money that he has to pay. 5,000 towards the bill, original purchase and sale, and 100 rupees towards the noting charges. So how much will C demand in future? 5,100. Now in return, how much will we demand from B? 5,000 towards bill and 100 rupees towards the noting charges. So total 5,100 we would want to recover. So I'm telling you small amount, guys. Little bit here and there you miss it out. No, gone. Amount is very important. So full 100% concentration. Now in books of B. Now B is basically the purchaser. So on the date of purchase, what is the entry? Purchase account debit to A, 5,000. This is the first transaction. This is the first transaction which the buyer B recorded. Second transaction is on the execution of bill of exchange, which is executed on 1/1/2021. It will be A account debit to bills payable 5,000. Second transaction also captured. Third transaction is endorsement transaction. Endorsement transaction will be record. It is happening between the creditor and seller. They both will record. Fourth transaction is dishonourment entry. So that entry we have to record. So what is the due date? 4 April 2021. So on the due date, what happens? Before that, guys, A account is knocked off. Now on the due date, the bill payable validity is expired. So I need to cancel the validity of the bill. So BP account will be debited by 5,000 rupees. And we are yet to make the payment to whom? A. So to A's account, how much? 5,100. So we have to make the payment to creditor how much? 5,000 towards bill, 100 towards the noting charges. So 100 rupees difference is nothing but noting charges account debit. So bills payable account debit 5,000, noting charges account debit 100, to A's account 5,100. Correct, no? The person who has defaulted the payment is the person who has to bear the charges. Therefore, in his books of accounts, I am recording the noting charges. Do you guys have any problem with this? Online people, any issues? Any difficulties?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So these are the 3 entries. In your textbook, they would have captured only the second and the third entry. Let's see if it is matching or not matching. This is the bill execution entry and this is the dishonourment entry. Clear? Now guys, in the book of C, guys, the first transaction, that is the buying and selling transaction, is happening between A and B. Will C record this? No. Second bill of exchange transaction again is executed between A and B. Will C record it? No. Third transaction is an endorsement happening between C and the seller. That is A. That is A and C. So will C capture this? Yes. So on the date of endorsement, which is 11th of January 2021, guys, C is receiving the bill debit what comes in. So bills receivable account debit 5,000 rupees. Receiving of bill is as good as settling the debtor. So here we are closing the debtor's account. For C, guys, for C, A is a debtor. So to A, 5,000. Debtor is handed over the bill. So it is as good as we have received money from debtor. So bills receivable to A. Then fourth transaction, on the maturity date, endorsee, that is creditor, is going and collecting money from buyer, but buyer is not giving the money. So what will happen? He will recover this money, or he would want to recover this money from whom? Seller. So in the question, have they told you that the seller paid the money to the creditor? No, which means it is yet to be paid, which means C is yet to receive. C is yet to receive the money from seller. So what will the seller do? That is the creditor do on the maturity date, which is 4/4/2021. Will you not recreate A? So A account debit 5,000, not 5,000, it will be 5,100, because we would want to recover from A total 5,100, 5,000 towards bill and 100 towards noting charges. 2, bills receivable 5,000 and 2, cash 100. So listen to me very carefully. See guys, for C, who is A? Debtor, which means C would have sold goods to A. So when the goods has been sold by C to A, what would have been the credit sale entry? A account debit to sale. This would have been the first entry. This is the second entry. So what happens by A account is getting knocked off. Am I right? Then because of dishonourment, on the maturity date, the bill is dishonored. The validity of the bill is gone. So don't you think that my bill needs to be cancelled? So bills receivable and bills receivable is knocked off. 5,000 you're closing the bill, but did you receive the money? No, you're yet to receive the money. So which means you have to recreate the debtor again. So A account debit. Now people think that A account credit and A account debit here means the account is knocked off. No, this account was knocked off against the original account. So when I'm debiting A here, this is recreation of a debtor again. So when we are recreating, how much we are recreating? For 5,100. So total 5,100 we have to recover. Of that, 5,000 is towards bill and 100 is towards the noting charges that you have paid to the notary public. So in all the 4 cases, guys, the tricky part is only the dishonourment entry. So here, if you try to by heart, okay, in this case, in this fellow's books of account, this will be the entry. If you try to by heart, there are high chances that you will forget it. In CA, by hearting doesn't work. You need to conceptually understand. You need to understand that on a particular date, for a particular transaction, what is the impact? What is happening? Who all are getting affected here? Which account is getting affected here? That knack you need to develop. Now, all these questions, guys, are not there anywhere in the CA foundation material. Now, imagine, had I not been teaching you 11th and 12th classes, had I not been having that special book with me, the only option that is left with me is what? I have to start from the ICA study module. The ICA study module, guys, I'll tell you the very first question. I'll show you the very first question. This is the first question of ICA study module. In the very first question, there is a concept of endorsement and there is a concept of bill being discounted. I can explain the concept, not a problem. But both concepts coming together, how does it feel? Individually itself is a tricky part. Combining is a different thing. Now, do you understand why we did so many examples? Because those 8 questions, what we worked out was about to set a strong base. Once you understand the concept, okay, if in this situation, what will be the entry in the books of, seller? What will be the entry in the books of buyer? What will be the entry in the books of, the endorsee? So if that part is clear, let ICA twist and give the questions the way they want to give it. You will be in position to tackle it. Can you understand the base is important? Online people, please tell me how many of you have not got this question. In C's books of accounts, these are the 2 entries. How many of you have not got it? A is a debtor which is recreated. We have to collect. C has to collect 5,100 from A. In that, 5,000 is towards the bill amount and 100 is towards the noting charges. Same way go to A's account, guys. How much money we are supposed to pay to C? 5,100. So A is also agreeing that to C I have to pay 5,100, and C is also agreeing that from A I need to recover 5,100. Are you able to understand how to link the journal entries and read the entries? All these journal entries conveys a story, but this story can be understood only by accountants, only by commerce people. If you ask a science student to read this without knowing that, he will not understand head and tail also. So your basic, no, don't look at him. He is now official CA. He has learned all the basics, so he'll be able to interpret now. I'm talking about other science people, those who don't know the basics. You're able to understand that? Yes. Online people, hello?
Yes, sir.
Understandable or not understandable?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Understandable, sir.
Very good. Now, guys, the final concept is there. What will happen if the bill of exchange is sent to the bank for collection? For this, unfortunately, there is no question given. But I have given for all of you the journal entries here. In the books of seller, what will be the entry? In the books of buyer, what will be the entry? That also I'll give it to you. So if that is there, is it enough? Or do you want me to frame a question and give it to you? Do you want
it's enough.
It's enough? Like, sir, enough, sir. बहुत हो गया, boring it is.
No, sir, like we have an idea, na, so we'll be able to do it.
You'll do it?
Yeah.
But somehow
Yes.
I'm feeling that, I'm missing out on something.
No, sir, only your feeling. We'll do it.
Guys, what do you say? In the fourth case, dishonourment entry you'll manage? Okay, I'll give you a rough example. Seller has sold goods to the buyer worth 50,000 rupees. Buyer is given a promissory note or a bill of exchange with acceptance worth 50,000. We have given the responsibility to the banker for collection. Bill sent for collection, hand over to the bank. So on the due date, banker is supposed to go and collect money from buyer, but unfortunately there is a dishonourment happening. So what will be the entry? So in the books of seller, the first entry will be what? Debtor to sale 50,000, 50,000. Okay. Then when the bill of exchange is accepted, you will cancel the debtor by giving a credit, and in place of that, a bills receivable is opened for 50,000, 50,000. So this is first transaction. This is second transaction. Third transaction, what is happening? The seller is sending the bill for collection to the banker. So bills receivable is going out of my hand. So two bills receivable, credit what goes out. And this money we are supposed to receive from the banker. So if you debit bank, it means the money is come to my bank account. That will be wrong. So we learned that instead of bank, we'll create a new account called as bill sent for collection. So bill sent for collection account, debit to bills receivable. This is the third entry. The nature of bill sent for collection is asset. So until you receive the money from the banker, in the balance sheet on asset side, bill sent for collection will be flashing. On the due date, the banker tried to get the money from the buyer. He could not get the money. So he took the notary public and documented all the reasons for it. He paid 100 rupees on that. So this 100 rupees, banker would recover from whom? Seller. So what will be the dishonourment entry? So see here, observe this very carefully. Debtor is knocked off. Bills receivable is knocked off. So what is pending? Bill sent for collection is pending. On the due date, did you get the bill? Did you get the money? No. So I need to cancel this bill sent for collection because the validity is over. So bill sent for collection will be credited here. With how much? 50,000 rupees. And you need to recreate the debtor because you are yet to receive the money from the customer. So you are recreating the debtor. Now from debtor, will you collect only the bill amount? No, you'll collect the bill amount plus the noting charges. So you'll collect total 50,100. So debtor account debit 50,100. Two bills sent for collection 50,000. Two cash or bank 100 rupees noting charges. Any problem? Because you have to make the payment to the banker. Na? You will pay to the banker. Banker will pay to the notary public. Banker paid, no, but banker will recover from us, no. So we have to pay to the banker. So two cash or bank. In case of your second case, bill discounted, that two cash is not coming because here two cash in bank totally 50,100. The banker is taking from your bank account. Because in the second case, the banker has got the hold of your bank account. So you will take the full 50,100 because there you received the 50,000 rupees. Here, banker did not pay 50,000 rupees because you have not discounted. So banker will take how much money from your bank account? Only 100 rupees. Banker has paid 100 rupees to notary public. So your banker will take 100 rupees from your bank account. So to bank 100 rupees. What is the doubt here? So debtor account 5,500 means what? I'm recreating the debtor. Boss, I have not received money from my debtor. So I need to receive it. To remember it, I am creating an asset by debiting it. How much money I need to recover? 50,000 plus 100. So 50,100. The bill sent for collection, which is an asset, we are waiting the money to come. That bill sent for collection is not going to come because the validity of the bill is over on the maturity date. So that bill sent for collection asset I need to close by giving a credit. So this bill sent for collection and this bill sent for collection will ensure that the account becomes zero. Plus to bank 100 rupees from the bank, the banker will take it. So this is the journal entry for dishonourment in case of or in the books of seller. Okay. Now in the books of buyer, what will be the entry? On the date of purchase. On date of purchase, it is purchase account debit to creditor. On the date of bill being accepted, this creditor account debit to bills payable. This is the first transaction. This is the second transaction. Third transaction, no entry because third transaction is happening between whom? Third transaction is between seller and the bank. Fourth transaction is the dishonourment entry. So that we'll capture it. So fourth transaction, what will happen? Here, creditor is knocked off. Bill payable is alive. Now on the maturity date, can I say the validity of the bill is expired? So I need to cancel this bills payable, which is currently in credit, by giving debit. So bills payable account debit how much? 50,000. And we have to recreate the creditor. So to creditor will be how much? 50,100. Because we have to make the payment to creditor totally 50,000 plus 100 noting charges. So 100 rupees noting charges who will bear? This guy will bear. The customer will bear. So noting charges expense account debit 100 to creditor 50,100. So this will be the dishonourment entry for in the books of buyer or customer. Now clear? Online people, hello.
Yes, sir.
So I'll do one question from the ICA study module. Please take your first question of your ICA study module. Please take the first question of your ICA study module. Illustration 1. So this illustration 1, guys, was not there until December 2020 examination. This was introduced only during the December 21 examination last year. Sorry, not December 21, December 22 examination. And if your friends December 22 examination, they wrote no last year, that time only the question was introduced. Before that, this question was not even there. This is one basic question they've asked. Only one basic question they've introduced, that too complicated. This was not there even until 2021. Imagine there is no basic questions at all. Straight away, they have started with the challenging questions, new concepts. Now, guys, so this is a scanner for all of you. I would have given the scanner printout to all of you. Anybody who has not received it, please let Anita ma'am know. She'll make the arrangements. So this is a scanner book where all the questions from your ICA study module, MTP, RTP, and past exam paper, plus one special book I've combined together and recorded in this scanner book. So this one scanner, what I'm giving to you is good enough for you to work out the entire foundation accountancy subject. So let's see the first question, guys. It says that Miss Sujata receives two bill from Miss Aruna dated 1st Jan 2020 for 2 months. The first bill is 10,200. The second bill is 15,000 rupees. My question to all of you is, who is Sujata? Who is Aruna? Who is buyer? Who is seller?
Sujata is buyer.
If Sujata is preparing the bill and giving to Aruna, Aruna is receiving the bill. If Aruna is accepting and signing the bill and giving it back to Sujata, Sujata is receiving the bill. Both sides receiving the bill is happening. So here, which receiving the bill they're talking about? Are they talking about Aruna receiving the bill for the purpose of signing, or are they talking about the receiving that is happening after the acceptance? First question, ICA study model, googly ball. Now here, what will happen is, you will not have doubts because your brain is working at the 50% capacity. So when you do this question in the examination, in your examination hall, your brain will be functioning at the 100% level capacity. It will not be active, it will be proactive. That brain on that particular day, when it is hyper and proactive, it will ask all sorts of questions from all directions. What if this happened? What if this is that? And during the examination hall, if such doubt comes, Govinda, oh Govinda only. Which means that whenever you complete your class or during the class, you should try to have your 100% retention capacity or 100% concentration. If by any reason the concentration is not there, when you go back home and do the multiple revision, during the revision process, you need to have the 100% focus. Your brain should be hyperactive and proactive so that if there is any questions, confusions, everything should happen during the preparatory period. Nothing should come as a doubt in the examination hall. Okay. So now guys, here Sujata receiving the bill. So they are talking about the bill that is received by Aruna after signature, after acceptance. The question is silent that which receiving aspect they're talking about. Whether Sujata giving the bill to Aruna for acceptance. So Aruna is receiving the bill. So is this the bill receiving for acceptance, or is this the bill received after acceptance? The question is coming, no? In that case, always the assumption is the receipt they're talking about the end receipt. End receipt means what? After acceptance, whatever the bill is finally received, no? That receiving they're talking about. So Sujata is receiving the bill after acceptance. It means like that. So if Sujata is receiving the bill after acceptance, the Sujata becomes my seller. Sujata becomes my seller. And Aruna becomes customer. Are you clear with this? Because if you are not clear who is seller and who is customer, how will you pass the entry? Because entry for the buyer and seller both are different now. Online people, are you getting this point? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Guys, Sujata is receiving how many bill? 2 bill. One bill is worth 10,200. Second bill is worth 15,000 rupees. And what is the credit period of these 2 bills? Credit period is 2 months. The second bill, guys, they talk about second bill. Second bill means what? 15,000. The 15,000 worth of bill is endorsed in the favor of Mr. Shri. In favor of Mr. Shri on 3rd Jan 2020. And the first bill is discounted immediately with the bank on for 10,000 rupees. What is the first bill value? 10,200. What is the amount that is received? 10,000. So 200 rupees difference is what?
Discounting charge.
Pass and necessary journal entries in books of Mrs. Sujata. Now, my dear friends, this is the very first question of ICA module where you're not having one googly ball, you have multiple googly ball. One is between Sujata and Aruna, there is confusion who's the buyer and seller. That is now resolved. In the very first question, they have asked the question about endorsement and bill discounting together. So far, the questions what we have seen is endorsement question separately, discounting question separately. Now it is merged. So can you feel the level of difficulty? So we have to be very clear, step-by-step procedure we have to go. Very simple, don't get confused. There are 2 different bill now. Treat this question as a 2 different question. If anywhere you have a doubt, draw the diagram. In the first case, bill 1, what is happening? There's a discounting. So there is a bank involved. Then we have Sujata. Then we have, what is the girl's name? Aruna. So this is for bill of exchange 1. For bill of exchange 2. For bill of exchange 2, who is the party involved? Mr. Shri. Who is the endorsee? We have Sujata. And we have Aruna. Clear? So now guys, let's deal this question one by one. In both bills of exchange, one thing is common. Sujata is selling goods to Aruna. Sujata is selling goods to Aruna. Am I supposed to record the sale entry? Not required, because they have directly asked about the bill. So second entry we are supposed to record, but I am recording the first entry only for your knowledge purpose. So on the date of sale, what entry would Sujata have recorded?
Aruna to sales.
Aruna account debit to sale. What is the sale value? Both the bill put together. It is 25,200.
2,200.
This entry you don't have to record. This is only for knowledge purpose. Now on 1/1/2020 people, on 1/1/2020, what is happening? Sujata has given 2 bills to Aruna and Aruna has returned it back after acceptance. In both the case, the acceptance has come. So now you can record the entry in 2 ways. You can treat 2 separate ledger. You can create 2 separate ledger like bills receivable 1, bills receivable 2, account debit to Aruna. You can write the amount separately, 10,200, 15,000, 25,200. Or you can create a single account called as bills receivable account debit to Aruna, 25,200, 25,200. Do you have any problem with this?
No, sir.
Nice. Both are accepted. In certain places, you will find they would have passed entry like this. In certain places, they would have recorded entry like this. You are free to do what you want to do. Yes, Akash. Why Kana? Sale panamod, what is the worth of the goods that you have sold? 25,200. When you went to the banker, you got 200 rupees less. No. First the sale transaction, then later the discounting transaction. So you sold the goods for 25,200. In the 10,200 worth bill you gave to the banker, where banker paid you 10,000. But you did sale worth 10,200 only, no? Plus 15,000, which is 25,200. Correct, no? Now, guys, this is on 1/1/2020. Now, what happens is that one particular bill, guys, that is bill 1. What are they doing? They are discounting with the banker. So, on what is the date on which the bill is discounted? The first bill is discounted immediately with the bank for 10,000. Immediately means when the bill has been executed, when the bill has been accepted, the very same day the bill has been discounted. So on 1/1/2020, the next entry is on 1/1/2020. Guys, from my hand, the bills receivable 1 will go out. So 2 bills receivable or bills receivable 1, 10,200. Against that, what are you receiving? Money in the bank account. So banker is giving you the money. How much money? 10,000.
10,000.
What happened to balance 200? It is your loss.
Discounting charge.
All expense losses, discounting charges, account debit. Discounting charges, account debit. So bank account debit, discounting charges, account debit, 2 bills receivable 10,200. Now what is happening? Bills receivable 1 and bills receivable 1 is knocked off. Aruna 25,200 is knocked off. So what am I left with? I'm left with this. So bill receivable 2, what are we doing? On 3rd January 2020. Next, we have to go in the chronological order. On 3rd January 2020, the bill number 2 is being transferred to the creditor. So you are giving the bills receivable to creditor. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. So credit what is going out. So 2 bills receivable 2. 2 bills receivable 2. What worth how much? 15,000. Now you are giving this bill to whom? C. So C is the receiver. So debit the receiver. Shri. Account debit 15,000. For me, who is Shri? Creditor. So this bills receivable, what I'm giving is as good as making the payment to creditor. So when I make the payment to creditor, obviously my liability has to be closed, no boss. So this is the closure of the liability entry. So Shri account debit to bills receivable 15,000, 50,000. Now guys, anywhere in the question have they mentioned on the due date the bill has been met, on the due date bill is not met, any information is given? Nothing is given. We'll stop the transaction here itself. Pass the necessary journal entries in the books of Mrs. Sujata. There is no information about bill being honored or dishonored. You cannot assume it is honored. You cannot assume it is dishonored. So you'll stop it here. So these are the 3 entries. So this is the first entry. This we wrote as second entry, and this we wrote as a third entry. Guys, I would suggest you to go in the chronological order. You cannot pass the 1st of January entry first, then 3rd January, then 1st of January. So I feel you have to go in a chronological order. So what is important here is is the narration, guys. A lot of people make mistake in the test. What we have observed is people are not able to write the narration properly. You might get a very good command over the concept of bills of exchange, but unless and until you execute everything properly, everything means what? Writing the heading properly. In the books of Sujata, this is the heading. Journal entry is another part. Date, particulars, LF, debit rupees, credit rupees, the format, drawing the column, writing the narration. If this is not done, even if you get the answer right, you will lose marks because of your bad presentation. So if you are preparing or presenting this in the examination, how much important is presenting the answer rightly? Equally important is the proper format and proper presentation. So please practice it right from now. A lot of people, they have the habit of doing it roughly in the notebook now. Roughly they do it till the end of the exam, they do it roughly, and during the main exam they have very much difficulty to complete the paper on time, because in the exam the very first time they're going to write the heading, the very first time they'll draw the lines, so they will take up extra time. You will not have the habit of writing things fastly. You will not have the habit of drawing lines fastly. If you practice right from now, tuck, 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 you'll draw in exam. Because throughout next 6 months, you're continuously drawing now. So you get that speed. So whatever you're doing now, guys, even if 40 or 50% if you're doing roughly, balance 50%, please do it with proper format. I'm not saying that do all the question 100% properly with proper format. To save time, definitely, even I would do the questions roughly. But only doing it roughly is not right. 50% questions do it roughly, 50% do it with the proper format, so that you don't miss out on anything. Now tell me, people, if you have any doubts with respect to the topic that I've taken so far. Online people, hello?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Only 2 people responded. Others are sleeping?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So what have we completed so far, guys? We have completed a discussion on what is the meaning of bill of exchange and promissory note, how to calculate the due date, how do we pass the accounting entry for the 4 cases in the event of honorment of bill, how do we pass the accounting entries for those 4 cases in the event of dishonorment of the bill. Till that we have completed. So what am I left with? We are left with accounting for renewal of bill, accounting for retirement of bill. So few questions have been covered from this concept in the ICA module. And then we'll be finally heading towards the accounting for accommodation of bill. This is the dawn of this particular chapter. Dawn means literally dawn. But don't worry, it's not that complicated. Yes, it is slightly challenging, but it is worth doing it. Right? So any queries at this point of time? Sir, you leave us, sir. We'll go home.
No, sir. Yes, sir.
See. Online people sitting at home and telling, yes, sir, please leave us. All right. Okay. So it was a quite hectic day from morning, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, feeling exhausted. So welcome to CA, my dear. This is how the journey of CA is going to be. Yes, people. See, the entire journey of your CA or any other professional course will definitely be tiring. But actually, the burden of being tired, it's upon how you take your entire day. If you feel that entire day is very tired, oh shit, what am I doing? Then you feel, that negative emotions will come up. It's very difficult. On the other hand, you make up that this is how my life is going to be. But yes, wherever I get time, we'll enjoy. Wherever we get time, we'll study. We'll make some, good things with our life. If you keep that positive aspect in mind, you will not feel that pain of, that restlessness. So even I today, guys, I work daily about 14 to 15 hours a day. Like for example, if I finish this session, I have a couple of discussions with parents after this session. I'll go home. I'll have my dinner. I'll settle down. I'll take up my laptop. I'll either be on laptop doing some work, or I'll be on call doing counseling for the students. And this go up till 12:30, 1 o'clock in the midnight. So I've also equally had a tiring day as you guys had, because I started my day like as early as 8 o'clock in the morning. And this goes till 12:31 in the night. So what keeps me up? See, at least, okay, for you, it is a need that you have to sit so many hours and you have to study because you have to clear the examination. What is the need for me to take up a call at 9:30 in the night till 12:30 in the night, talking to a person who's not even my student, to guide him, to motivate him, to mentor him to complete CA? for which I don't get anything in return. So if somebody is able to do it for that 2-3 hours in the night period, that is a family time period, then obviously there has to be a strong motive behind it. So if your motive and intent is strong, if your determination is strong, nobody can deter it. If you have put your thing in mind very clearly that if I want to achieve something in my life, may come what, I'll achieve it, then that sense of tiredness, what you feel, no, that you will not get it. Being tired is a state of mind. If you are able to tweak it, no, nothing like that. That doesn't mean that being tired is bad. It's an indication that your body needs relaxation. Relax your body physically, just cool down, but mentally don't carry that body. Oh, I had a tiring day, it's very difficult. Don't have the mental thing. Just physically take some rest, everything will be fine. Right? Online people? Can we get going?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So yes. That's all from my side for today's session. I'll see you in the next class, which is on Thursday morning, 10:30 a.m. sharp. Until then, bye-bye. See you. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.